welcome back to Drop and Revise. So for today, I'm gonna share to you the power duo in generating a research topic, the problems plus the variables. Imagine you kept on submitting or proposing your proposed topic or title, but your professor or your teacher kept on rejecting them. So ano yung mali? Okay, so this time we are about to unleash the primary source of stress of every student has in research writing, which is generating a problem and worthy to be investigated. All right. So our first source of problem is through observing people. We have this context of mind your own business, right? But actually in research, it's a big no-no. Because by observing people, their behavior, their attitude, we can actually generate a problem on it. Okay? Most of the time, mga sample studies dito are more on perceptions and analysis. So let's have here an example. The relationship of ASI infinity on gamer screen time exposure. Yes, it is worthy to be investigated. First, it concerns the behavior of the gamers, di ba? Kapag ba tumataas ang SLP value, mas tumatagal ba sila on their screen? Okay? At the same time, it also concerns their health. Okay? So it's worthy to be investigated. Another thing is that with our current situation, observing the people having this doubt to be get vaccinated. Okay, why? Diba? So what's the reason behind having this hesitation? Okay, that's also an example of observing people. So next source of problem we have, okay, trends. It is somehow similar with observation, but in this case, there is an existence of certain issue. It might be socially, politically, economically, environmentally, or morally. Okay, and most of the time, sample studies here are more on satisfaction level, public and social survey. Okay, so we have here an example, awareness and satisfaction level of Filipinos towards the government's action in combating pandemic crisis. So our issue here is the government's action in combating pandemic crisis. Okay, it's still friends because we're still experiencing this current situation. So these trends originated, okay, derived from news. Okay, this study is somehow delicado, okay, especially when the certain issue is no longer significant or relevant. Okay, an example for that is, yes, our current situation, di ba? Later on, malalagpasan natin to and it's no longer trendy. Okay, so what about the trend nowadays in showbiz, di ba? Example, um, the long-term couple, I mean, they tend to, because of third party, maghiwalay sila. And us, di ba? It's so fascinating or curious na bakit tagal-tagal na rin samahan nila, hindi sila mag-end up together pala in the end. Di ba? Parang ito yung mga nagsisirculate online di ba? Pinagtagpo pero hindi tinadhana. Okay? Alright, that's example of friends. The worry here in this source of problem is that the trending today is somehow won't be guaranteed na trending pa rin siya in the near future. Okay? So next source of problem, yes. Source of problem through phenomenon. Okay? Phenomenon, okay, deals with your personal experience, diba? It's so easy to come up with a study if you experience it personally. Okay, phenomenon is everything under the sun, diba? I like this source of problem because of its goal to dismantle irregularity. That is why most of the time, sample studies here are assessment and evaluation. Okay? Maganda siya in a way na it is not enough to say that the government is corrupt. Diba? Some of the politicians are corrupt, right? Hindi siya enough unless you conduct your own study and you have to investigate to tell whether if it's true or not. Okay, so we have here another example, set of examples. Philippines ranks lowest in reading, math, and science. Basis for revisiting the curriculum. In this case, we already have, okay, the problem, the result, wherein the Philippines ranks lowest. So you as a researcher, you want to determine if it has something to do with the curriculum. Okay, so next one is the social network exposure and students' vocabulary proficiency of the second language. The second language here is English. Okay, gaano katotoo na kapag tumatagal tayo using our social media accounts, naapektuhan ba, okay, our vocabulary proficiency, specifically in English? So, kung meron o walang relationship or effect or impact, okay, kung meron, so that will be the time na magkakaroon tayo ng reading enrichment method. So, the difference of these two is that on the first example, nandun na yung result, okay, that the Philippines ranks lowest. Okay? Unlike on the second example is that i-determine mo pa lang if there is a relationship or effect or impact. Alright? Okay, that is phenomena. And then next is through programs, the source of a problem through programs. This is also okay because in this source of problem, you are actually referring to an intervention. So most of the time, again, sample studies here are more on advocacy, campaign, innovation, and output based. Okay, so let's have an example here. Scholarium, a budget-friendly educational application. Actually, this study siya ng anak ko last year, my student. Okay. Baka magtataka kayo na, Mom, is it worthy to be a research title whereas, it doesn't contain independent and dependent variable? Yes, it is still counted as a research. Wala lang siguro sa title, our IV and the DB, pero baka nasa loob ng paper. Did you know that? Mas matrabaho nga yung mga output-based study. Why? Because they are dealing with the paper, but at the same time, they are also dealing with the output. It can be a device, at na application, gadget, or a food. Halimbawa sa TVL, di ba? They are innovating dishes. Something like that. Okay? Alright. So next. Okay, my favorite, the niche area. You can actually generate, okay, a problem through your niche area. When we say niche area, we are referring to your area of expertise. If your strand is STEM, or your course is deals with the STEM strand, okay, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Therefore, your niche area doon nagpo-fall. So, most of the time, mga STEM students, scientific and experimental study yung mga topic. Sa ABM naman, dahil ABM, so your niche area is about marketing, okay, and accountancy, so more on feasibility study. Okay? So, sa TVL, developmental innovation, innovative exploration na yung sa kanila. Yung gas, more on perceptions and analysis. Okay? Depending on your niche area. And then lastly, okay, in case that you feel like parang lahat na ng study na gusto nyong gawin ay ginawa niyo ng iba and you can think of nothing, okay, you still have another chance, okay, by visiting our government agencies like DOST, CHED, or even DepEd, I think. Because they are producing or releasing this national research agenda where in thematic sila. Like last year, I don't know if it's last year, but I think, okay, the DOST, the theme of their national research agenda is about environmental awareness and sustainability. Okay, so nakalist down na yon yung mga certain topics. So your only role is to pick or choose and then conduct your own study. Di ba? Hindi ka na mag-iisip. Go straight ka na in conducting a study. Alright? So now we can proceed now with the variables. You are more than correct, okay, about your knowledge about variables, that the major types of variables are the independent and the dependent variable. Wherein the independent is the presumed cause, while the dependent is the presumed effect. Pero hindi lang doon natatapos ang lahat. Okay? Because you are dealing with a quantitative study. So meaning to say, with your independent variable, you must have, okay, you must have numerical value on these two variables. So let's have an example here. Okay, independent, kung napaaga-aga lang ba yung closure of borders, liliit kaya yung lockdown period natin. Okay. In the independent variable, probably the date. Okay. On the dependent variable is the number of days. Diba? Meaning to say, your goal here is not to just simply identify what are your two variables, the independent and dependent variable, but you need also to supply numerical value to say that you are dealing with quantitative study. Alright? So, saan ba manggagaling yung mga numerical value? So, we have two distinctions of variables. We have the qualitative variables and the quantitative variables. So, first, let's define what are variables. These are the characteristics that are being studied. Okay? On the first part of our lesson, di ba, we have this example, beauty or maganda as our variable. That is counted as a qualitative variable because it falls under quality, character, or kind. So if you want to measure that, you must have criteria or instrument to measure it. But unlike to quantitative variables, the numerical value is already given. Okay, kasi it deals with numerical and can be ordered and ranked. Example is age, height, weight, and temperature. So, since you are dealing with quantitative study, let's focus on the quantitative variables, which has two distinctions also. We have the discrete and the continuous variable. Okay, so let's focus first on the discrete variable. On the discrete variable, okay, class, it deals with categorical and classificatory. Sometimes, meron niyang numbers, pero limited lang siya. Okay? And it cannot be divided into fraction or decimal. So let's have an example. Example natin, first one is sex. Categorical siya. It's either female or male. Same goes with the blood type. And number of children in the family. We have here, okay, numbers, pero we cannot divide them, okay, into fraction or decimal unless may lahi na ng mga manananggal. Okay? So, lipat naman tayo with continuous variable, which is the exact opposite of the discrete. Okay? This time around, we have infinite number with value, definitely. And it can be divided into fractions or decimal. Okay? Example of that, age, height, weight, temperature, hours. So these two, okay, kinds of quantitative variables, nahati pa sila into two each. In discrete, we have the nominal and the ordinal, while in continuous, we have the interval and ratio. So don't get confused, napakadali lang naman nilang i-differentiate from one another. So let's focus first on the discrete variables. Okay, the common denominator of these two is that they don't have a unit of measurement. In the nominal, okay, nominal muna tayo. From the word itself, it deals with name only. Okay? No quantitative value. Okay? And does not imply order. Meaning to say the order is not important. Example, we have the eye color. Hindi mo kasi pwedeng lagyan to ng order at sasabihin na lahat ng taong may blue eyes ay ang pinakamagandang nilalang sa mundo. No, never, di ba? Same goes with the religion. Plus the sex. Maraming magagalit kapag yan nirank mo or nilagay mo into order. Okay? And address. And marami pang iba. So in ordinal, okay, so we have the ordinal. Exam opposite also. With categories pa rin. With categories, I mean, and can be ranked. So, may name pa din, may name, at the same time, nirarank din siya. And can be arranged to highest to lowest, or vice versa. Example of that is salary grade, social classes, and satisfaction level. If you just notice, guys, I mean class, yung research questionnaire or yung survey form ninyo, yung mga questions nyo doon na name, sex, grade level, and your Likert scale, okay, nag-derive sila from quantitative variables. Diba? Did you see now the connection? All right. So here, anak, salary grade natin. If you ask someone, how much is your salary monthly? Example. When you say 23,500, example, that falls under ratio because there is a specific amount. Pero, ilalagay natin siya into ordinal, okay, kapag may ranging. Ano yung, saan nagpo-fall under yung 23,500? So, meron tayong salary grade, well, malay mo sa grade 12 siya nakalagay. I forgot the exact okay? And even social classes, right? And satisfaction level. Ito yung mga anak yung direct scale ninyo from strongly agree down to strongly disagree. And then semantic scale ninyo na from very satisfied down to very unsatisfied. Okay? There is an order. Next, let's focus naman on the continuous variables. The common denominator of interval and ratio is that they have unit of measurement. The only difference of these two is that they have both definite or infinite numbers. That in the interval, hindi binavalue or hindi kinoconsider si zero. Okay, example of that is age. Hindi mo naman kasi pwedeng sabihin na what is your age? 17.0. Diba? Hindi naman. So, in ratio, 0 has clear definition and has meaning. Example of that, height, weight, and distance. Height is 6.05. Something ganun. Okay? So, 6.0 flat 6 feet. Diba? Okay, so you're now have the idea on how to come up or derive with numerical value with your, what we call this, with your two major variables, the independent and dependent variables. Once again, okay, it's important that you can derive with numerical value with your IB and DB to say that you are dealing with a quantitative study. Okay? But, hindi naman siguro tatanungin ng panel ninyo na what kind of quantitative variables do you have in your IB and DB? Hindi naman nila tatanungin. But it's a plus factor if you can differentiate, okay, nominal from ordinal, interval from ratio. Alright? Okay, so let's have this short, ito pa pala. In case you are having difficulties in differentiating these four, okay, nominal, just remember, name lang ang hiningin, no quantitative data. Ordinal, may name din mga anak, but the order is important. Interval and ratio, they have definite numbers, is that in interval, the zero has no meaning, and in ratio, infinite numbers, but the ratio has meaning. As simple as that. So now let's have a short activity by providing, what do you call this, numerical value on our IB and DB. Example here is our independent variable, unemployment. dependent variable is poverty. So in the IB, unemployment, so the ideal, okay, numerical value on this is nominal through sex, di ba? Male or female. Pwede rin yung unemployment by means of their academic level, di ba? Same also with their social classes. So, ordinal din siya. Ano pa? Or ratio, the actual number of unemployed in a specific region. So, region tayo, we're referring to the region. So, magpo-fall naman siya nominal. So, ang dami. Sa poverty naman, also, pwedeng ratio din, actual number of people who are part of this class. Okay, yun. Same goes with, same lang naman sila halos, unemployment rate and crime rate. So another example is the intelligence quotient as our IB and dependent variable academic grade. So in IB, IQ pwede siya na nominal pa rin when it comes to sex, male or female. Pwede pa rin dito yung nominal din. There's grade level. Pwede pa rin. Okay? So, dependent variable is obvious. Ratio siya when in terms of grades, the actual general average. Pero pwede din siya mag-fall under ordinal if you have these classes. I-divide mo siya into with honors, with high honors, and with highest honors. Depende yan kung ano yung gusto mong itanong with your survey questionnaire or survey form. But we have these rulings, okay? You need to be mindful with your sub-variables. Why? Kasi ang daming pwedeng potential numerical value on your IB or DB. So, ililimit mo pa rin siya definitely. So, we have here an example. Okay, our independent variable is the social media network or social media accounts, platforms. Dependent variable, the level of secondary language, vocabulary, proficiency. So here in our IB, so marami tayong sub-variables here. And those sub-variables has numerical value, hours of exposure, number of accounts, and number of reasons why they're utilizing their social media accounts. And independent variable, definitely if they are seeking for the level, this is ratio. Okay? So mag-undergo sila ng test to determine their level of vocabulary proficiency on the second language. Right? I hope now you understand on how to bring or derive numerical value on your independent and dependent variable. Thank you. Bye-bye.